All right, so you've had your knee replacement and now you're struggling to get your knee to bend. Your knee feels very stiff, it feels tight, and it doesn't feel like any amount of pushing or forcing that knee to bend is going to help it to loosen up. I've got an idea for you to try, and it involves using a silicone cup. Now, these cups originated from Chinese medicine and acupuncture, where they used to heat under a glass container, fill it with hot air, and then suction it to your skin. Now, with that suction, it would create and draw the skin up into the cup. As you can kind of see, my hand is in there, and it would create a little bit of suction. Now, what we've discovered recently is that it's really good to use on skin around a joint replacement because it can help loosen up some of the scar tissue that lays down after you've had surgery. Now, of course, here's my little caveat. Always check with your healthcare provider and make sure that it's okay to go ahead and use some silicone cupping on your skin. Of course, now that you've gotten the go-ahead to use the cup and loosen up the skin around the knee, let's go into a little demo of how you're going to accomplish this. I'm going to sit up on the bed and show you what I would do from home. So the first thing you want to do is you want to, let me tip this. There we go. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you need some sort of lubrication, whether it is a oil, a cream. This is just a body butter, and all it does is it makes it so there's smooth gliding of the cup around the skin. So what I do is I create a little bit of a push with the top of the cup against the skin like this, and you'll feel it pull up on the skin underneath. Now, you can vary the intensity by how much push you give. That's a lot of push, and you can maybe see there's a lot of pull. I can barely move that around my knee joint. But when you're just getting started after your knee replacement, create a little tiny bit of suction, and then just start moving around where it feels stiff and tight. You want to use continuous movement, because if you stay in one spot for too long, you'll end up with a little bit of a red spot, and if you leave it on there for a long time, you'll end up with a little bruise or a hickey. Okay, so we've created a little bit of tightness, and we're just going to move around where the skin feels really, really taut and tight. Now, the thing to remember with this is you can put it anywhere around the knee. You can go on the inside, you can go on the outside, you can go behind, wherever you feel like there's tightness. Maybe it's your IT band. Maybe you do a little bit of loosening up in this zone. But what it'll do is that suction will help those little adhesions that might be stopping that skin from moving freely. It'll loosen it up and give you some better range. Okay, so continuous movement. I like to kind of circle back and forth, rotating instead of just going back and forth. What you can feel is if there's an area that's really stiff, it's actually really hard to move the cup. Once you've sort of loosened that area up, it gets easier and easier to move, okay? And like I said, you can vary the intensity based on how much you can tolerate. If you can only do a really light pressure to start with, start there, and you will notice it loosen up over time. Once you are fully healed along your incision, then you can go up over the top of the knee. But because the knee is a bit of a bony area, it can be hard to keep the cup in contact. So you can use different sizes. This is a smaller one, and it is easier to maneuver around an area like the kneecap because it has an easier time dealing with little bends and creases in the knee joint there. So these two little devices, you can see my skin is a little bit red after that. If you've gone pretty intense, you may end up with that kind of little reddish bruising. That isn't a sign that you've done damage. It just means you've created a little too much pull. And it's like if you sucked on your arm as a kid or put the vacuum on there to give yourself a hickey. It will heal, but be mindful of that. You're not going to put a lot of pressure and just leave it sitting there for 10-15 minutes. You will end up with a bruise there. Okay, silicone cups. Miracle treatment for people who have tight, skin and areas that have adhered and created scar tissue at the surface of the skin. And doing this can really help loosen up your knee joint after your knee replacement. All right, don't forget to subscribe, follow these videos, and let me know what kind of help you need along your recovery of your knee replacement.